Messi vs Ronaldo was one of the greatest rivalries of all time. It featured two legendary players, 13 Ballon d'Ors, countless 50-goal seasons, and more than a bit of bad blood. Years later, fans still can't stop talking about it, which is why it came as such a shock when in September of 2023, Cristiano declared the rivalry over. He had gone off to Saudi Arabia to play for one last big payday in the desert sun. Messi, on the other hand, was taking in some UVs of his own, having made a blockbuster move to Inter Miami in the MLS. Past their respective peaks and playing on opposite sides of the world, Ronaldo's assessment seemed reasonable. When even the hyped-up early 2024 friendly match between the two, labeled The Last Dance, saw the Portuguese striker ruled out with a calf injury, many came to terms with the possibility the rivals had squared off for the last time. But just like the debates over who is better, the link between these greats can never truly be severed, because they've left a parting gift. Two big bets on the future of the sport, which could reverberate for generations. And like their playing styles, the futures they imagine couldn't be more different.
To be honest, I think this Saudi League is not worse than France League, to be in my opinion.
There's more than one way to score a goal. For Messi, it starts small, a sequence of precise, patient passes which unlock the opposing defense and culminate in a golden opportunity. Ronaldo, however, tends to prefer the direct approach. In terms of their late career decision-making, it's much of the same. Ronaldo's deal with Saudi club Al Nassr pays him an estimated $220 million per year, almost twice as much as the next highest paid athlete in any sport. The only man who might have an argument to make more, Lionel Messi, earns only $20 million from Inter Miami, roughly 1/10 as much. Why such a discrepancy? Well, while Ronaldo gets paid directly with a massive number up front, Messi's deal sets him up from a variety of angles. On top of his base salary and bonuses from the club itself, the Argentinian has negotiated a cut of streaming revenue from Apple TV+, which owns the exclusive international broadcast rights to the MLS over the next 10 years. The more subscribers he can draw to the service, the more he stands to earn. In just his first year playing stateside, the number of fans on MLS Season Pass already doubled, and it could grow even more. In addition, Messi's agreement with apparel brands Adidas and Fanatics land him a cut of jersey sales, another incentive tied directly to his popularity. With all the different income channels, some place Messi's total yearly compensation at around $150 million. But the upside is relatively unlimited, and it could even surpass Cristiano's unfathomable figure. While CR7 has gone straight for the big prize, Messi has set in motion a more deliberate, slow-building attacking movement. But that's not the only parallel between the behavior of the two superstars on and off the pitch. Ronaldo has always been all about Ronaldo. He's a star, a big ego, and the team often takes a backseat to his individual brilliance. Messi, meanwhile, has built a reputation on drawing the best out of his fellow players, and elevating the group to be greater than the sum of its parts. Naturally, thanks to a massive investment from the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, the Pro League has fully bought into the star-driven approach. In the summer 2023 transfer window alone, top Saudi clubs collectively spent nearly $1 billion to lure some of Europe's best players to the kingdom. With names like Neymar and Karim Benzema on offer, the league hoped to expand its audience by relying on name value alone, which helps explain why Ronaldo can get away with making obscene gestures to opposing fans. The MLS, meanwhile, remains far from being able to go toe-to-toe with Saudi in terms of big names. Unlike most leagues, the MLS has instituted a salary cap, which limits the amount any team can spend on player salaries to a modest $5.2 million. The one exception to this is the so-called designated player rule, which allows each team to sign up to 3 players who are exempted from the salary cap. So not only are teams limited in the number of big money stars they can bring in, but also most ownership groups are unwilling to shell out the type of money Saudi government investors have shown that they are. In fact, a whopping 10 Pro League players earn more in 1 year than the entire combined payroll of the MLS's highest spending club. The star factor, though, extends beyond the players, and goes as far as the balance between teams themselves. The top 4 Saudi clubs have spent by far the most on players, and as a result consistently outclassed the rest of the league, which can't compete in terms of talent. In the MLS, though, due to the parity enforced by the salary cap, teams are much closer in quality, yielding a tighter league table and more competitive games. In other words, Inter Miami, despite having Messi, might not be the best team, whereas Ronaldo's Al Nassr will surely compete for the title every season. While the Saudi League has opted for the top-heavy model characteristic of European leagues, MLS is trying to emulate the enforced competitiveness found in other American sports. Which is a more entertaining product for fans is really a matter of perspective. MLS teams have roughly doubled the average attendance, but also a larger domestic market of fans to draw from. In terms of TV revenues, the MLS Apple deal brings in $250 million a year, whereas the Pro League DAZN deal is worth a reported $500 million. Neither league is globally popular just yet, but each is trying to become so in a strikingly different way. One hopes to thrive on a few big names and a few big teams, while the other believes its relatively equal playing field and high level of competitiveness will attract an audience. So both Messi and Ronaldo have chosen to ride out their careers in leagues which almost perfectly match their personalities. But it goes even deeper. The very nature of the way the stars have chosen to partner with each league matches the manner they have conducted their careers. Ronaldo played for a number of teams over the years, and was excellent for most of them, but he wasn't afraid to force his way out when things didn't go his way. Messi famously felt so much club loyalty that he made clear on numerous occasions he wanted to stay with Barcelona for his entire career, and only left for PSG when the club's financial troubles meant it could no longer afford his wage bill. In the same fashion, Ronaldo's deal with Al Nassr carries with it no expectation of a long-term partnership. He can leave when his contract expires in a few years, and no matter if the league continues to grow or goes the way of the Chinese Super League, he'll collect his paycheck either way. Former Saudi League star Odion Ighalo even went as far as to say that Ronaldo was only in Saudi Arabia for the money, not for the passion. And while only Cristiano himself knows whether this take is true, Messi's deal with Inter Miami seems to go way deeper than his rivals. Aside from his numerous sponsors, the striker has secured a sizable ownership stake in the Florida club. As such, it's not just in his interest to perform for the final few years of his career and sail off into the sunset. Instead, he stands to benefit from helping to build the MLS into a high-profile league for years to come. And he might just be one of many, as there are already 18 MLS clubs in the list of the world's top 50 most valuable. Thanks in part to the security provided by the lack of a promotion-relegation system, the investment just keeps coming in. Few, though, can spend like the Saudi government, which some suggest has a strong geopolitical interest in boosting the profile of its league.
Ojalá siga creciendo de esta manera la MLS.
Which player made the right choice is really not the question. Both Messi and Ronaldo have already achieved everything there is to achieve, and their final acts are really just a case of putting a cherry on top. But beyond simply growing the game to new audiences, their high-profile moves can be seen as foreshadowing for the future of the sport altogether. As European teams continue to crumble under the weight of financial mismanagement and a perhaps unsustainable business model, the sporting nexus may start to shift into new markets. These two great stars are making their own cases for where this should be and what it should look like. Whether the MLS or Saudi Pro League will succeed in the long run, it's way too early to say. And just like the debate over Messi vs Ronaldo, it might not be settled anytime soon.